Welcome once again to the Kyle Report, and of course this program's coming to you live on December 5th, 1994, right here from the beautiful L.E. Phillips Downtown Memorial Library and Hamburger and Taco Stand. Fred, and of course my rusty trusty sidekick, Fred the Truth Stafford. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Howdy, howdy.
Glad to see you back again, Fred. Glad to see you with us. All right, here. I don't know what's on the other channel, but turn it over to this channel. It's not worth watching anything but the Kyle Report on a nice night like this, Fred. And it is getting chilly out there, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is.
Well, Fred, before we start the show, we wanted to have you read a very brief prayer now, Fred. Let's not get into any hominy and dominy. Just say a prayer.
Okay. Lord Jesus Christ, you told us to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and to God what belongs to God. Enlighten the minds of our people during this election year of the discovery of America. May we choose a President of the United States, other government officials according to your divine will. Give our citizens the courage to choose the leaders of our nation who respect the sanctity of unborn life, human life, the sanctity of marriage, the sanctity of marital relations, the sanctity of the family, and the sanctity of the aging. Grant us the wisdom to give you what belongs to you, our God. If we do this as a nation, we are confident you will give us an abundance of your blessings through our elected leaders.
All right, thank you, Fred. Now, tonight's program, we introduced a new guest who was from another land, and Fred, he got in this country and he started eating the food, and lo and behold, it wasn't 2 days, and the guy ended up in the hospital. So we've got Dr. Smock on the phone with us from Sacred Heart Hospital. Are you there, Dr. Smock?
Good evening. Good evening there, Mr. Lee and Fred the True Stafford.
Now, there's a photo of Dr. Smock on the TV. The poor guy ate some American food, and look what happened to him, Fred. He ends up in the hospital. Now, do you guys have appendixes?
Yes, we do. Our appendixes are very much like yours in your land. However, I found it interesting speaking with your doctors here in Eau Claire, is they tell me you people have appendixes, but they serve no purpose whatsoever. In our land, our appendixes are used to filter toxic poisons.
Oh, I see, yeah.
We need them very much.
Exactly what land is that, anyway?
Why do we need them?
No, I said exactly what land are you talking about?
Well, I am here working with your government, and they've asked me to, at this point, not come forward to divulge the exact location.
So exactly what were you eating there? Some kind of tacos or something?
Well, I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but you and the Fred the True Stafford and myself all enjoyed those wonderful tacos after last week's Cow Report, and it was shortly after that that I had to be hospitalized.
Yeah. So what's the doctor say your prognosis is down there?
Well, I'm going to need several weeks of bed rest, and the outlook is very, very good. Thank you, Chuck.
Have you been in touch with your land?
Yes. They are sending prayers down to me here, and I believe that, along with the excellent care I've received from the hospital staff and those cute little nurses, they work so hard, and with all this help, I'm sure we'll have a full recovery very soon.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Smock. That was Dr. Smock, and we hope you get back and give us some more insight on what your feelings are on the government of America and the school systems and all the different various things that make up society, because your insight from another land is very important.
Well, I look very much forward to joining you and Fred the True Stafford. You are two brilliant men, and your broadcasts to the nation are very much needed. You both do such great humanitarian work, and I would be more than pleased to join both of you on your fine program in the near future as soon as my health shall allow it. And God bless you both. Good night now.
Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Smock. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, Fred.
Wake up there, Chuck. Are you snoring?
All right, Fred. Now we took care of that. We took care of that, Fred.
Timber!
We took care of that. Now, I don't know if our camera person, of course, we have Linda McGonigal on the camera tonight, Fred, and we'll see if she can get a close-up of that there. Can you get a close-up of that, Linda? Linda McGonigal, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there is a photo out of the Leader Telegram recently of people out in California, Fred, anywhere you figure, Beverly Hills, California, of all places, but that's where most of the fruits and nuts are. See, this thing here is a pile of furs, Fred. There's an animal that looks like a tiger. Now, these are long been dead, Fred. These people are actually lining up to give away their $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 furs to some animal rights nuts that are going to do who knows what with them, Fred. But it's too late for those furs, Fred. Those animals were killed a long time ago and made into beautiful furs to keep people warm. And they're, you know what they'll probably do is they'll probably turn those around and recycle them over in Europe and make $50,000, $75,000 selling them to some rich people in Europe. So there you have it, Fred.
Yes.
Another example of poor planning on the part of people in this country. After the fact, then they want to pile the evidence together, Fred. All right, Fred. Well, tonight is live, of course, and we encourage you to call in. But first, before you call in, we're going to have Linda McGonigal, once again get a close-up of this top photo here, and you might want to shoot all the way in and then focus it real good and then back up just a little bit. Anytime now you can get in there. Okay, now back off just a little bit with it. Yeah, okay now. Fred, what I've got here is a recent issue of Rolling Stone magazine, which a lot of young kids read. You know, thousands, I don't know if they're in the millions, but hundreds of thousands of copies that go out every month. And in this particular issue, which was several months ago, Fred, but it was 1994, I cut out all the different places where there were cigarette ads. Now we're going to start with the two-page ads, and you can just back up just a little more, Linda, because this is a two-page ad which folded out. And this one here is a smoking causes, in the corner says smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and may complicate pregnancy. Well then, Fred, they got two cars. This is a double-page ad. It's for Benson and Hedges. The length you go to for pleasure. These days, you can't cab across town with a cigarette. For a great smoke, this is a ride you've been waiting for, Fred. So here we got two cabs, convertible cabs. That's unusual. And we got a couple of women in this one in the back seat, and a woman and two men in the back seat here. Well, those three women, luckily, they got a warning here that says that it may complicate pregnancy, Fred. But all these ads are geared for the younger folks in this country because, what is it now, Fred? 400,000 people a year die from cigarettes. So they've got to recruit new addicts to the cause. These cigarette companies, what do you think about that, Fred? Do you think they're recruiting these young kids into smoking?
I certainly do.
Okay, well, that was the first one. Now we'll go down to this bottom one here. Let's get a close-up of that. This is in the same magazine. Here's another two-page spread. Beautiful spread of the West, Fred, out there, you know, wide open spaces, the horses, the cowboys, and what are they pushing? Marlboros. Of course, Marlboro is the #1 selling cigarette in the world, Fred, and it's pushed like this all over the world to the young kids. Now, this one here is all men, Fred. So instead of talking about what it'll do to men, guess what they do? They flip the warning. This is one of the things that Philip Morris and them are very good at, Fred. The warning in this one says, smoking by pregnant women may result in fetal injury, premature birth, and low birth rate. Now, to the young guys that are reading this all over the world and read Rolling Stone magazine, hey, they say, what's that got to do with me? I'm not going to have any babies. So see how the tobacco companies flip it? This one up here talks about lung cancer, but just says may complicate pregnancy. So this one is safe to put 3 women in. This one down here, they zero in on pregnant women. And so what do? They put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men in there, some horses and the wide open spaces. Cowboys, Fred.
Doesn't bother the horses, I hope.
Nope. All right, that takes care of those
But
two.
they don't smoke, huh?
These are all from the same issue of that magazine, Rolling Stone. Okay, the next ones here now are, might want to go to this one here on the left. This is a Virginia Slims one. You've come a long way, baby. The best things in life never go out of style. It's two young women together. Looks like they're going on a weekend trip somewhere. It says, another one of these trick ones, Fred. Smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and may complicate pregnancy. So instead of using the Marlboro warning on this one where it belongs, they flipped it over and used this one. And this is another Philip Morris company, Virginia Slims. Now we go over to the big guy here, Camel. I think they're about number 2 now in sales, Fred, because of their Joe Camel that they pushed. And we got a close up of this one. Maybe back off just a little on that one so they can see the whole ad. Yeah. Well, this one here, Fred, is here's another one where it says smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and may complicate pregnancy. Now here's a picture. This one here has got the Marlboro man sitting here bored. And then it says up here, genuine taste, never boring. And Joe Camel sticking out a camel there for you guys, you young rock and roll guys, to light up. And that there, of course, is RJR Reynolds Tobacco, Fred. They're RJR Nabisco now. The biscuit company bought them out.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, now we're going to go down to the right-hand corner here. And this one is a P. Lorillite company, Newport. You might want to back off just a little, get all that. Back off just a little bit there. This is for Newports. Okay. Now this one says smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and may complicate pregnancy. This one's for Newport, Alive with Pleasure. And of course they had 2 women in this one, so they didn't want to say that it was very dangerous to the health of the baby that's growing inside of them, possibly, so they don't want to cause any waves there, Fred. When you're recruiting new converts to poison, you don't want to tell them everything it's going to do to you all at once. You wait till you get a little more hooked, and then you can start realizing that you're addicted to one of the most addictive substances on the face of the earth. All right, then we're going to flip this over. Oh, I'm going to flip this over to catch this one here. And here's Philip Morris. Now that was the end of the cigarette commercials in that ad. You're going to have to back off way on this one because this is a two-story job here. This is from the Philip Morris Company. Fred, you know that Philip Morris gives money to congressmen in the state of Wisconsin. They pour money into Steve Gunderson's campaign. They give it to the other candidates in the state because Philip Morris has some interest in tobacco growing in the southern and southwestern part of the state. The big question is, how much of the state retirement funds does the state of Wisconsin invest in tobacco companies like Philip Morris, P. Lorillite, RJR Nabisco? Who knows? It could be in the millions, Fred. And also there's a WIDA program that supports the growing of tobacco in the state of Wisconsin. So on the one hand, we got parts of the state of Wisconsin saying, don't smoke, it'll kill you, it's addictive. These are official government, official commercials and stuff from the state of Wisconsin. And then on the other hand, we got the state of Wisconsin investing in the tobacco industry, and not only investing in it, Fred, but also giving loans out to farmers who need to grow more tobacco. That's all we need is more tobacco grown in this country. All right, so this here was a retort, or it was a way of Philip Morris coming back and saying, don't worry about secondhand smoke. It ain't going to hurt you. A little fine print down here says, of the 11 U.S. studies the EPA used to arrive at its conclusion that secondhand smoke could kill you, not a single one originally reported an overall statistically significant association between secondhand smoke and lung cancer. So in other words, they're saying it's not a significant, statistically significant. They're not denying that it could cause cancer, but and I noticed the warning is not on this ad here, Fred. They're warning about smoking can be hazardous to your health. They neglected to put it on this ad, even though it's an ad talking about tobacco and it's by a tobacco company. They're probably negligent in this one here, and possibly they could be fined for that. I don't know who does the fining out there in the federal government, but this is a way for Philip Morris to say, hey, don't worry about it. If you're sitting in a restaurant breathing somebody else's smoke, or you're in a closed area, don't sweat it. We're telling you it's not going to kill you. So there you have it, Fred. All those other ones were in the Rolling Stone magazine pushing for the young people. This one was a full-page ad in USA Today newspaper a few weeks ago. I think it was. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to another photo that was in a recent issue of, you get in on this photo here now? This is a double wide one. Remember, Fred, how we talked about, you might want to back up a little and catch this over on this side. Okay, this here's a double wide photo. What this is, Fred, it's part of the 4,000 Rwandans that died that day in one of the camps over there. And there's a Frenchman running this bulldozer here. This is the teeth of the bulldozer up there coming down, getting ready to bury these bodies. But this is part of the 4,000 people that were dumped into this ditch that day to bury that died in the refugee camp in Rwanda. And not one of them, Fred, was killed with a bullet. Most of them died of starvation or were hacked to death by some of the night riders. Maybe some of these people up here actually might have killed some of these people. They had retribution against their fellow people that are in this camp. But this was one that was controlled by the French, so they had the unsavory task of burying bodies. It's very reminiscent, Fred, of what happened during World War II when they piled the corpses of the concentration victims into piles and buried them like this. Well, we're seeing genocide over here in Rwanda. And they're saying now the death toll is close to 1 million people have died in just a few months, Fred. And not very many of them were killed with guns and bullets. A lot of them were hacked to death or beat to death with clubs. So much for gun control. But it's a very sad situation over there. And if anyone wants to make donations to relief agencies, that would be a very good one to get a donation to, be to the Rwandan Relief or to the United Nations that's dealing directly with these camps over there, or to Christian groups.
I would rather give it to some of the religious groups, because then you know the money is going to go to the people who it was intended for.
Well, hopefully, Fred, that's what will happen. So that's the gist of those today. Of course, I used those on the back of my Thompson stickers that I had excess over that I was accused of stealing by some people in the local Republican Party. So I use those now. See, they're nice and clean, and I use them, Fred. They come in handy because it's cardboard. Come in real handy over the years. All right, Fred. So that's it. That's it for our examples on the board tonight. So now we're going to take calls that we're done with that, and we possibly have some calls waiting. And of course, the number once again is 839-5067 for tonight's show, and so we're going to go to the lines, and go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering, in regards to your last campaign, I was wondering, why did you bring up Steve Gunderson's sexual preference? And I just thought that made you look kind of cheap. What's your opinion about that?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question, Fred. She wants to know if I ran a cheap campaign. Yes, I did, Fred. It was under $5,000. It was amazing. It's amazing. Of course, you know, Fred, we're close to the road out here, and every once in a while we could pick up sounds from outside of the studio, and evidently somebody had a wreck out there. I hope it's not anybody we know. But yes, we did run a campaign, and actually the campaign was pretty clean, and it wasn't really on Steve Gunderson's homosexuality. It was on the fact that Steve Gunderson was a stealth homosexual candidate for 5 terms. And that's the only thing that I really ran on. And other than that, it didn't really come up. The only time it come up is when Steve brought it up, sobbing, trying to get more votes. So we're going to go to line number 1 first, and then we'll go back to 2. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, Chuck, I've been smoking for 20 years, and, I got no problems with it. You know, I smoke 3 packs a day, non-filter, and, Saturday nights I watch a Red Green show, and, I don't have cancer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I like your show. It's pretty good here.
Oh, who? You watch what show? Red Green?
Yeah, on Channel 28, PBS.
What's that about? Never heard of it.
A couple of guys up in Canada that they got this lodge and they fix cars with duct tape.
Well, that's a good thing to do. You know, that duct tape really comes in handy.
Oh, sorry about that. That's my friend Jim over there. He's hacking up along.
As a matter of fact, we use duct tape to hold up our cows right here on the show.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Yep.
Of course, all of our signage here is duct tape signage. Well, we're glad that you called, and it's always good to have somebody calling in that's not trying to give somebody a hard time. And we appreciate your call. So thanks a lot. Okay, Fred. Have you got anything now that you want to talk about there?
Sure. I got a few things. Here's something that is taken from Human Events, which is at 422 First Street, Southeast Washington, D.C., 2003. And take, for example, the top Clinton aide, George Stephanopoulos, 33, has spent most of his time since college drawing government paychecks, has just bought an $835,000 condo on fashionable DuPont Circle.
Who did that?
George Stephanopoulos.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Oh, well, where did he get the money from?
Well, them guys get paid good money out there, Fred. They're not paid
that's
$15,000.
$840. That's a lot of money.
Well, he gets paid 10% of that every year. 4 years, he'll have it half paid off.
Yeah.
Besides that, he was working somewhere before he came to Washington.
No, he worked for the government all of his life.
George did?
Yes.
Where at?
Well, wherever.
Does it say that in there?
Spent most of his time since college drawing government paychecks.
Huh. Well, then, government pays good, I guess. $800,000. Of course, that ain't much. But see, Fred, he's got the ins with the banks and stuff. It ain't that hard for him to get a loan for that kind of money.
And I mention that because you don't find these things out unless you read a good conservative publication.
Okay, we got calls on 1 and 2, Fred. We asked you to
Yes.
stay on the air because we will get to you, but we just wanted to go to one more photograph here that I think we got zeroed in on. Now, this one here, Fred, is from the Children's Defense Fund. You've probably heard of them. It's a left-wing organization. Well, you know how in this state the leftists always bring out the babies and the children and the whenever they got educational issues or something, welfare or whatever, they always dangle the kids in front of us and say, do it for the kids. Here, tax us to death. And they dangle a picture of a kid. Well, here they're doing it again, Fred. This is a recent ad. It says here, when it's budget cutting time, they always start with the easiest targets. And they put a bullseye on this little baby's diaper there. Children can't stand up for themselves, which makes them an easy mark for politicians when they're cutting back. Give children a voice, yours. Kids can't vote, but you can. The Children's Defense Fund.
That's nice that they take our money to give to others who should be taking care of their own children.
I noticed they used a white baby in there too, Fred. But unfortunately, Fred, they dangle the children in front of us. I don't think even Newt Gingrich, as radical as people think he is going to push anybody into the streets and cause mass starvation in this country.
I hope not.
They just want to get the waste taken care of. There's plenty of that. Okay, we're going to go to a call now, and I think we still have a couple calls waiting. So go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, Chuck. How you doing tonight?
Okay.
You know how we were talking about smoking before? I was wondering if you've ever smoked hog cigarettes.
What kind?
Hog?
No, I think that must have been before my time. What's the hog cigarette?
Hog cigarettes are when you suck another man's penis.
Huh.
Have you ever tried that before?
No, I don't think I have. I didn't know that was considered smoking.
Oh, yeah, smoking hog cigarettes.
Huh.
How about Fred? Have you ever smoked some Fred?
Absolutely not. I don't smoke.
Well, you know, Fred, sometimes that was really a corker, wasn't it, Fred? That guy was real intelligent. That's just another example of our fine...
Sounds like a couple more real intelligent ones.
It's just another fine example of our educational system locally, Fred. That's all they got to do all day is sit around and discuss things like that.
Yes.
you know. All right, Fred, I got a little something here for you that's kind of interesting. But first, let's go to one of your shorties there.
All right.
And
These wacky White House staffers, also from Human Events, they fly the Clinton's helicopter to golf outings, get plastered on Air Force One, steal towels from Navy ships. It's tough to keep up with them, but Human Events does.
who said that?
Human Events.
Yeah, what does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, they can't be trusted, I guess.
Of course, Fred, we forgot to say, before we get to the phones here again, we forgot to tell people that, of course, the show is brought to you by Flavin' Pop. And have I sang the jingle lately, Fred?
No, thank God.
Well, we better sing it because there's your Flavin' Pop. Get it in the picture there. We better sing the jingle because
It's not pop, it's slop.
people tend to forget it, Fred. And of course,
And the better off they are if they do.
of course, the sales are just going through the roof, Fred.
I know. You sold another bottle?
I think we sold 3 at a funeral
Oh,
last week.
my God.
All right.
What, did they die after they drank it?
Well, one guy said he wanted to take a bottle with him, so we sold him a bottle before he died.
He probably took it with him, all right.
So that was in the casket there. So we're going to sing the jingle now, Fred, so you can sing along if you want. Okay.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-O, E-I-O.
Well, we're glad to see you're feeling better, Fred. I know you were sick for several weeks. Okay, now we're going to sing the jingle here. Flavin'
Do you
Pop.
have to?
Excuse me, Fred. Flavin' Pop, Flavin' Pop. I don't drink slop, drink Flavin' Pop. The thinking man's drink.
The
There it is.
stinking man's drink?
There it is.
That's what it is.
There it is. Flavin'
I
Pop.
always wondered whose man's drink it was.
All right, Fred.
The
all right.
stinking man's drink.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, hello, how you doing? Do
All
you
right.
have different products made in the USA? Is that what you prefer?
Excuse me?
Products made in the USA?
Yeah, so what's your point?
Well, do you believe in them? I mean, is that what you prefer to buy?
Yeah,
Well, is Flavin' Pop made in the USA?
sure is. Made right here in the Chippewa Valley.
Oh, okay. And anything to expand on that?
I don't know. You might expand a little bit if you drink too much of it. It's carbonated, but other than that, it's the best drink on the market.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, thanks a lot for calling there. See, Fred, she thought it was some kind of foreign juice. Of course, we
I
know
don't
better than
blame her.
that.
I don't blame her.
All right, okay. All right, now it's my turn here, Fred. I got something here. Of course, we talked with Dr. Smock. He's doing fine, and we do have calls waiting. We will get your calls, so be patient. Dr. Smock is feeling fine, Fred, and he's in Sacred Heart Hospital. And they do get pretty good care down there, don't they, Fred?
Yes.
All right. Here's a little subject, Fred, about public schools. People are worried about public schools and separation of church and state. Here was something interesting recently in the paper. This is from St. Vincent, Minnesota, Fred, way up in the northwestern part of Minnesota, a little town up there. A public school built in this tiny northwestern town is built to accommodate 19 children of a small Protestant group is unconstitutional, a national watchdog group says. Glad we got those watchdog groups out there telling us what's right and wrong, you know, Fred? Okay, Americans United for the Separation of Church and State, a Washington-based socialist atheist organization, is pressuring state and local officials to investigate and shut down the public schools. Well, of course, you'd expect that from socialists and atheists, Fred. The school was opened in September at the request of several brethren families who oppose the use of computers, radios, television, and some literature, as well as the teaching of sex education and evolution. Of the 19 children, 12 are from St. Vincent, and 7 come from across the Red River in Pembina, North Dakota. This arrangement violates both the federal and Minnesota constitutional provisions regarding separation of church and state, said Stephen Green, the watchdog socialist, communist, left-wing legal director. What do you think about that?
Terrible.
Yeah, I know. They're always trying to stir the pot. You know what, Fred? Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
All the other gangs in Eau Claire, watch your steps. Sprung niggas in the house.
There's another fine example of imported foreigners, Fred. They can't speak the language, so they just say something funny like that, or they think it's funny. And I'm not impressed at all by that gang activity. I guess the gangs have been doing some damage around the library here, Fred. I guess it's part of their rights. They've been smashing some windows out. Unfortunately, when they get caught, they're going to have to pay some big fines and probably do a few months in jail. Maybe that'll slow down their activity a little bit. Okay, so let you know, Fred. Of course, this is the cow report, Fred.
Yes. Sounds like it.
And I had something here on that. And that's what that cow thinks of that last caller, Fred.
Yeah.
I think the cow has something special for that caller, Fred. Of course, that's in the barn right next door. You know, we raise our own cattle down here for the taco stand, Fred.
Yeah.
I guess that's really been a success. Really been a success down here at the library to help keep the library doors open, Fred. We are going to get you a call on line 1, caller, so please be patient. Fred. I guess that's what we think of that last caller. Okay, now, Fred, what do you got there before we take this call?
New York City's Republican mayor, Rudolph Giuliani, embraces the homosexual gay games with a keynote address attacking Pat Buchanan.
Yeah? Is that it?
Yes.
Well, Giuliani, didn't he support Cuomo for governor?
Yes.
Crossed his own party lines and supported the Democrat?
Yes.
Of course, we had every left-wing radical Democrat in the country coming in here for Gunderson. So I guess it's okay to cross lines like that anymore, Fred. I think we're going to take a call on line 2 because we took one on line 1 last time. So we try to be fair around here on the cow report because this is the people's show, Fred. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
See, you got a new issue of the New American there, too. How new is that?
No, the 28th is the last one I have.
Okay, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
What is Flavor Pop and where can you get it?
Flavin' Pop can be bought
And your undertakers.
at fine funeral homes, gas stations, and flea markets everywhere. Now, this is just at your finer funeral homes, not these run by these fly-by-night funeral homes where they just use cardboard boxes. I'm talking about real funeral homes.
What is it?
Flavin' Pop is a natural juice, and we don't know exactly what's in it. We know that it has some green in it. Other than that, we don't know exactly what it is. The formula is secret. It comes out of the ground right here in the Chippewa Valley. And we bottled it one day, and the sales just took off, right? It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How does it taste?
It's very, very
Terrible. Terrible.
delicious. Very delicious. But at the end of the day, we gave some to Common Man, and he started growing new hair.
Okay.
Right here on this show. His hair was growing all over the place, on the palms of his hands and everything.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for calling in, young man. We like those kind of calls, Fred. We like those the young kids that we're raising up in the proper education here, Fred. All right, Fred, I got a shorty here. Now, as you remember, Fred, we will get your calls, so please be patient. As you remember, Fred,
Yes.
several years ago, I introduced a law, or tried to get a law passed through the city council for a curfew in this city.
Yes.
And now here, about 2.5 years later, we got gangs roving the streets, and crime is up, and juvenile delinquency is up, and we need it. Well, our little neighbor to the west, who seems to be getting all the industry, and who has a very intelligent Republican conservative mayor, Mayor Stokey, they have a new city curfew violation fines were approved Monday by the Menominee City Council, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
The new ordinance allows Menominee Police to issue a $25 citation to anyone under age 18 for the first curfew violation. The old law only allowed for a warning on the first offense. The second offense is now $50, up from $25. The third offense is $75, up from $50. Court costs also may be imposed for forfeitures. The nominee's curfew is 11 p.m. to 5:30 a.m., Sunday through Thursday nights, and on Friday it's midnight to 5:30 a.m. The law exempts juveniles who are working or attending a school or religious function. Other exemptions also are allowed. That's exactly the law that I was trying to pass, Fred, and the left-wing radicals in town said, oh, you can't cause our children to come in off the streets. We want our children to run the streets day and night in Eau Claire, harassing people.
Is that right?
And so the leftists got their way, and now they're reaping the harvest from it, Fred. So maybe the city council will try and salvage their pathetic 2-year reign, and maybe they'll pass a law to have curfew in the city of Eau Claire, with certain exceptions to take care of people that are working late, Fred, people that are at school plays or at church plays. You know, the usual exemptions, just like that were in the bill that I tried to talk the former council in. Okay, go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, you're harder to get a hold of than Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, we have them backed up 20 miles back there. We got them outside waiting to get on the phone.
I have a suggestion. Have you thought about contacting Jack Kevorkian to sell some more of that pop?
Well, actually, this stuff is...
Yeah, he could use that pop
Yeah,
there.
you could open up a whole new market.
Yeah.
This pop is too good for Jack.
Seriously, the reason I called was I was wondering if you know anything about the UN Convention on the Child.
No, but Fred knows all that stuff. He keeps track of all that stuff. Why, what's going on there, caller?
I was just wondering what the latest status was on it.
Let me
Because
see.
you have that cute little kid up there with the target on its bottom.
Oh, yeah. You mean this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was just by the Children's Defense Fund. They're always trying to raise left-wing money to push more social programs, and they dangle the children.
Wasn't Hillary Clinton part of that?
Yes.
Fred, you got something right there on the front of that cover
Yes.
on the children. It's right here. Whose child is this? Licensing parents, nationalizing children. Right there.
Have you read that?
No, I try not to read everything. I let Fred, leave a little bit of it for Fred so that we can...
I read it, but I can't remember much about what it said.
On the local scene, can you comment on the CPR?
Okay, thank you very much, caller. We've got many people waiting, so we're going to take that...
Alrighty.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Okay, Fred, the local CPR. Well, you know, Fred, I took CPR myself about 2 years ago. I think it's one of the best things that anybody can take in this city to help somebody that's choking or their heart stopped, you know. Because with the CPR training, Fred, you also get the Heimlich maneuver where you get behind somebody and you pop. If they're choking on something, you can get the food out of their throat. So I think CPR and the Heimlich maneuver are very, very nice. Very good.
They had them over at Grace Church there just recently.
Running a training over there now?
No, they were looking for new recruits there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
People who don't believe that the Bible is right, you know, it's not literal. If you take the 10 Commandments out of the Bible, I guess anything goes.
Well, you know, Fred, I'll tell you, we've got calls backed up here 3 miles, so we got to take them. But all I can say is, Fred, CPR, I took it myself several years ago.
And it didn't do any good for you, I can see that.
It's wonderful. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Chuck. How you doing?
Fine.
I got 3 serious questions to ask you. Hold on a second. I'm sorry about that. What do you think of people who smoke a lot of cigarettes? Do you disagree with factory?
Wait a minute, we got a train coming through here. Fred, you know, that's one thing bad about having a train depot right next to the library.
Yeah.
You get into all kinds of train problems. Of course, I think this is probably the last stop for the evening, right here at the Sioux Line building. I hear they're going to close that down, shut up so people can't get off here. It's been really handy.
Right.
Okay, caller, the train's gone now. What was the second question?
You guys are located in the public library, right?
Well, yeah, or they're located in us, one or the other.
Good answer. With all this,
Oh, you like my latest medallion?
oh yeah, just beautiful. I love it.
Here, let me...
All right, Mickey Mouse. He is so cool. Oh man, he's. Maybe let me see
Yeah, they're wearing these out in Los Angeles now, so I thought I'd keep in with the...
Is that like a tie?
No, actually, it's just a medallion. You can buy them in any of the Rodeo Drive out there in Beverly Hills now. They're all over the place. Kind of replaced the, remember the Mercedes-Benz emblem that all the Coke snorters and stuff were wearing? Well, now they've switched to this. There's thousands of these being sold by the hour out there, and it's sweeping the country now.
Cool. You know
Is
something?
that your phone or mine?
My. What do I know, man? What's that?
The train leaving. It's the last train out. Last train out of the station tonight. You missed it, Fred. Of course, you're riding with me, aren't you?
Yes.
It'd be nice if the Republicans could be that fast, you know, and just kind of ram right through Congress there, Fred, and just slash and cut and burn just like Sherman did during the Civil War. Just cut and burn, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And leave no survivors, including the Department of Education and some of these other left-wing radical potholes that have been out there for years just festering. Okay. I think we got a call on line one, and we'll try and get to that here. I think that... Close the door there, will you? Roy Rogers Hopp there left the door open outside to get some air in here. It does get hot down here. Okay, I think we took a call on line one, so we'll go to line two. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hello, Chuck. How you doing?
Fine, how are you tonight?
Pretty good. I was wondering if you've heard anything about gang activities in Eau Claire.
I don't know. What kind of gang activity?
I heard that one person call in and mention the gang Sprung Nigs. I've seen some bad stuff happen.
What are they called?
The Sprung Nigs.
Sprung Nigs?
Yeah.
That's a gang in Eau Claire?
Yep. It's just started. I've just started hearing stuff about them.
Huh.
I've just seen them doing some terrible stuff.
Like what?
I've had a gun pulled on me.
Where at?
Down on a gas station down past Water Street.
Well, perhaps it's time to pass that curfew. What time of night was it, or was this daytime?
That was in the middle of the day, actually.
Oh, what? They just pulled a gun on you for no reason, or?
Well, you know, they started calling me names and stuff, and you know, hey Whitey, stuff like that, and then they pulled a gun on me, and you know, I just took off. I didn't want any trouble.
How many of them were there?
There's just 2 or 3.
So how big do you think this gang is?
I don't know. I've seen tags, you know, those graffitis that they put around.
You're seeing graffiti in Eau Claire now?
Yeah. I've seen that more and more. So
on buildings or what?
Buildings, on the sidewalk, all over the place.
Can you give an example for the case? See, the FBI monitors this show, so if you can give an example of where someone's at, they might be able to go out there and photograph it or something if they're awake.
No, I mean, I've just seen it, you know, here and there, nowhere really, down by the university. Like on that walk bridge.
So are these like college gangs or high school or a mixture or what?
It's hard to say, really. Probably some of these guys don't even go to school.
Is any of this gang activity tied in with local crack cocaine and drug trafficking?
It could be. It really could be.
Yeah. So what other gang activity have you seen around?
Nothing really. I mean, I've just, you know, those Sprung Nigs, I think those guys are going to turn out to be a lot of trouble. And now if we get like more than 2 or 3 gangs in there, we're going to have like gang wars and stuff like that, and who knows what'll happen.
Well, if the cops would get off their rear ends and quit guarding all the leftist marches around town and stuff and start cracking down on some of this stuff and going after it early here and nipping it in the bud, because once that stuff gets established and you start getting the hardcore gangs start moving in and actually killing their opponents, when they start trafficking in the cocaine and the heroin, you're going to see people actually murdered. over territories. So they need to nip this thing in the bud right now. They need to move swiftly and quickly and get a handle on this thing. And the local FBI, like I said, Fred, monitors this show, and hopefully they will get involved in it if they're willing to. So I want to thank you for calling, caller, and I know there is some supposedly a Hmong gang that's operating out of North High School. And now, what did they do when they pulled a gun on you?
Oh, they just yelled some more things, and I didn't really stick around to see what they were planning to do.
Well, I don't blame you.
Ran for my life.
What kind of gun was it?
I'm not sure. It was a handgun, pistol.
Huh. What part of town was that in?
Like I said, down past Water Street is where I saw them.
Huh. Okay, well, thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you.
Hmm? Well, that's interesting to know, Fred, because we like to keep people up on what's happening, and evidently there's a rumor traveling around town about a Hmong gang. One of their members was told that if he wanted, or one of the initiates was told if he wanted to join the Hmong gang, he had to climb into a car where there was a white person, preferably a white female, and slit her throat. So evidently, I got this from a city employee, said to me that this Hmong guy actually jumped in the back seat of a white girl's car at a gas station. The guy in the gas station saw him do it, called the police real quick, and they got him before he carried through his initiation rite, which was to slit her throat. And they arrested him, and he admitted to that. Now, I got that firsthand from a city employee, so it might be a little more than just a rumor. So the police are going to have to start making a move on this, Fred.
Yes.
They're going to have it here big time. We're talking about shootouts over drugs and territory, and when you start seeing the gang graffiti on the walls, you know it's here. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Chuck.
Hello.
I got a couple questions for you. One thing is you portray yourself as a great example for the kids in Eau Claire, yet the young boy that called in and asked you a serious question about where he could buy this Flavin Pop, yet you didn't answer his question at all. You lied to him and told him that it was a real, actual product and everything.
Well, thank you very little, Fred. It's obviously one of my few enemies in town, Fred. Now, Flavin Pop is real, ladies and gentlemen, so don't believe some caller like that. If you don't believe me, just listen to your own heart. Now, would I lie to you? Okay. All right, Fred. You know, Fred, there's something we missed tonight. You thought you were going to get away with it. Since there's no guest, we always like to ask you, you're still batting 1,000, I think, aren't you? On these questions here. Fred, on this date, of course the date is December 5th, some serious things happened in December in history, Fred. Wasn't the Pearl Harbor in December?
Yes, sir.
Wasn't it tomorrow?
December 7th.
Okay, well, we're off a couple days. All right, Fred, here's going to be an easy one for you. The year is 1955. This man organizes a boycott of city buses after the arrest of Rosa Parks, a black woman who refused to give up her seat to a white man. This was the beginning of his rise to national prominence. This was back in 1955, December 5th. Who we talking?
Martin Luther King.
That's right, Fred. Glad to see you're on the ball. Okay, go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
That was Martin Luther King Jr. Fred, you got to bend the Bruin, that hat, big guy.
Yes.
And I think that guy's right. That's not really real pop, is it?
No.
I mean, flavor, whatever.
It's Flavin Pop.
Whatever.
Would I lie to you on national TV?
Flavin Slop.
Well, Roy Rogers Hoff put the cap on so tight I can't even open the thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got something in it there.
You can't lie on national TV.
Sure you can.
I don't know what's wrong with these people.
Bill Clinton does it all the time.
Well, I'm not Bill Clinton. I'm not Bill Clinton. Roy, close that door. You're going to let the cows out. Boy, I'll tell you, Fred. We got more troublemakers tonight. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
It is a good day to die.
Hello? Hello? Somebody... Fred, I think them gang members are shooting around the building here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. The show is going along as we expected, as usual. Fred, have I asked you a question tonight?
Yes.
How'd you do?
I think I got it.
Okay, well, that means that you're still batting 1,000. You're still the only baseball game in town. All right, Fred. Well, you know Aristides back in Hawaii.
Yes. He is?
Okay.
Hawaii or Haiti?
One of those two. All right, Fred. Now, I'm going to ask you one more question, then we're going to take another call. We have people waiting anxiously to get on the air. And hopefully we'll get an intelligent caller, Fred. It's always nice to have at least one intelligent caller
Yes.
in a night's programming. All right, Fred. This was December 4th, yesterday, 1783. This general bids farewell to his officers in New York, thereby symbolizing the true end of the Revolutionary War. And that general's name was?
George Washington.
That's right. You hit a bullseye, Fred. Bullseye. Bingo. Okay. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Chuck, how you doing tonight?
All right.
And Fred's back.
Yes.
Where have you been, Fred?
I've been there and back.
Okay.
Fred was under the weather there for a few months.
For what?
Of course, he hasn't realized that the elections are over. He's still wearing his Wells for Senate hat.
Oh, yeah. The elections are over, Fred.
That's right.
Yeah, the elections are over, Fred.